Welcome back to the Beat the Odds of Business and Wealth podcast. We got a important episode update. Mark Carney is going to start filing your tax returns, and we're going to tell you what you need to know about this, Trevor.
Yeah, for sure. When we saw this come out, of course, all the conspiracies people talk about is just getting ready for the New World Order, CBDCs. But we'll break into this a little bit and learn more about the pros, the cons, and reasons why they possibly might be doing this.
So I want to I started. I started in public practice in 2008, and I started this firm in 2011. And when I started this firm, I already had the belief that filing personal tax returns was going away in 2011. And, when I'm looking at what sort of work that we're going to pursue and what sort of work I don't want to pursue, it's like, I didn't want to pursue personal tax returns, like simple personal tax returns. It just seemed like a dying business. And I remember saying, it's like, well, I think this completely disappears in 10 years. I guess I was wrong. Here we are 14 years later, and we're talking about the beginning of the end, I guess, right? But it's lasted this long, which to me was surprising, right? And on a context, so if someone's, sitting there in the comments is like, well, maybe this is just a salty accountant at personal tax filing revenues going away. It's like, this makes zero change to our business and what we do.
Yeah,
because we've been rejecting personal tax returns, simple personal tax returns since the beginning of time. That's not what we do here. So, but for some context on around the world, why did I think it was disappearing? It's, I got some dates here. So France had this in 2006. France had automatic filing in 2006. Germany had automatic filing in 2010. Italy in 2015. And get this is the funniest one.
Okay.
Japan has been automatically filing their tax returns since the 90s. They literally just send out a postcard saying, here's your tax return. If you have an adjustment, let us know, right? So the fact that we still have these simple personal tax returns is actually kind of comical, right? It's actually kind of comical, and on principle, I'm actually for automatic filing of tax returns. It's actually so inefficient that we don't. I can remember it's like when you start learning how to file tax returns, and it's like you're a rookie, and this was before the automatic file days, right. So before the automatic import days. Now we can import the slips into the software. But I'm old enough to remember it's like we didn't actually have that capability where we as the juniors had to type all of those slips in manually in the tax software, and it was just a painstaking process. And just thinking to myself, it's like, wait a minute, these are the slips that are already filed with the government, and then I have to retype them into this software to send them the numbers that they already knew about. That whole process is just bizarre, right?
And we can't ignore the almost predatory practice of filing tax returns for low-income people.
Yes, right? So it was like, me as a naive rookie at one time, it's like, why is this taking place, right? Now as a little more perspective when you get older, it's like, I know darn well why this takes place, right? Because the big tax preparers have been lobbying the governments for years to avoid it, so they can stop siphoning this unnecessary process from people.
Millions and millions of dollars that they take from low-income people who are filing their tax returns. Yeah.
So, and this is not a conspiracy. This is widely known. And so we'll just point you to the screen, right now. It's like H&R Block. It's like, the CEO is he's the president. He's a registered lobbyist with the government of Canada, and it details all of their meetings with the government of Canada to lobby against automatic electronic filing. And this has been going on for a very long time. That there was a formal lobby group put together. They formalized it in 2018. So that's 7 years ago. They were lobbying even before that, but they formalized the lobby group, and they called it the Tax Filer Empowerment Canada. It sounds good. Tax Filer Empowerment Canada. Yeah. So you realize what they're trying to do and who's on it. H&R Block, of course. Northwest Tax, Thomson Reuters. For those of you who don't know what is Thomson Reuters, they sell tax filing software, people. So I mean, that's one of the arms of the business of many arms of the Thomson Reuters group. So Cloud Tax, Myers Norris Penny. Come on, guys. Liberty Tax. Okay. The American Coalition for Taxpayer Rights. Interesting, right? And so who do you think funds them? It's like, Intuit and H&R Block too. It's like cross-funding. So because if it caught on in Canada, it might catch on in the U.S. too, because there's, Canada, the U.S., the U.K., they've resisted what we could call any sort of intelligence on this issue, and we've insisted on this inefficient process. Intuit, the makers of TurboTax and QuickBooks, and Walters Kluwer, again, tax filing software manufacturer, another big one. FBC, kind of a rural version of H&R Block, if you will. Taxtron, TaxCycle, more tax filing software, right? So they're lobbying the government not to help you so they can keep selling their software to be used in unnecessary processes, right?
And let's be clear about lobbying a little bit. So lobbying, basically, these people, get together and they're talking to government officials, MPs, lawmakers, and they say, hey, basically it's not a bribe, but it's kind of a bribe. Right? It's like, we'll fund your campaigns. This is what we're hoping to see in the next, set of bills and laws that come out. We want to protect this.
Whatever you do, don't make tax filing easier for poor people.
Yeah. Whatever you do, please
don't make tax filing easier for poor people.
It's a good cash cow, let's just keep this thing rolling. Why do we need to change it? Why do we need to change it, guys? Right?
And you think about the fees, it's like some of this is like super predatory, right? There's a process called discounting. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, it's like you think you just go in and pay a fee at these places to file taxes. There's something called discounting where they charge you a fee to file the taxes, but then they're also going to discount your refund. Okay. So a lot of, people in low income situations, it's like they need that money now. They're very desperate, and they sign over their refund to the person who prepared it. And in exchange, the person who prepared it, they give them cash up front, and then the person who prepared it gets their refund. But they take 15% of the first $300 and 5% after that, just for money that they're going to get in, another week or two. Like it's a very quick process of when they're actually going to get that refund, right? And this has been going on for years, decades, decades. When you look at, France starting this in 2006 and Japan doing it since the 90s, we've known about this for a very long time, right? I was just surprised it's taken this long to get here. So if someone is to tell me the premise is like, well, now we just started caring about those low income people, this is the reason why we're doing it, because now in 2025, we finally realized that this was a problem when we started caring. It's like, that's not the reason, right? In principle, I'm for automatic filing. It's just the timing of this is really, really suspicious.
What are the 5 most, dangerous words? I'm from the government. I'm here to help. That kind of thing.
I'm from the government. I'm here to help with your automatic tax filing, right?
We're going to help you guys. They're not going to help you.
Okay, so there are a lot of situations where it's like entirely appropriate, right? And so the question is like, why now? Why now is the question. And I want you to read right from the Prime Minister's website. It's like starting automatic federal benefits. Automatic federal benefits. Okay. For the 2026 year, that will reach up to 5.5 million low-income Canadians. At what point where, if it's 10 million Canadians, if it's 10 out of 40, is that really low income then? Or is that just like the income of Canadians, right? Like how big does that subset have to group have to get?
How low does your income need to be to get your automatic benefits?
Yeah. So, Canadians by the 2028 tax year, the CRA will automatically file these individuals' taxes to ensure they receive government benefits they qualify for, such as GST, HST credit, the Canada Child Benefit, the Canada Disability Benefit, and more, including benefits that these Canadians may not be aware they are entitled to. UBI.
UBI. Well, and then also talking about the DEI component. So if you're a person of of color, Indigenous, whatever, there's special benefits that you may not be aware that you're entitled to have.
So like, why now? Why now? They've known about this problem for years. They've known about, like, it's not just like a problem inefficiency. It was like an out in the open predatory practice of, an unnecessary step for low income individuals. Okay. So like, why now? It's like, well, you look at the latest stats at the CRA. Half of the calls aren't answered at all. The average wait time for a call is like 3.5 hours. So like they're completely like unable to do the job that they're doing now at the existing level, right? And do we see any reprieve whatsoever? It's like, no, the scale of these benefits, and I call them benefits. I mean, that term is used loosely. The scale of these cash disbursements, I'm not going to call them benefits because they're not a benefit. You can't run a deficit and provide a benefit. It doesn't work that way. You have to print fake money and just disperse it, right? The scale of these disbursements is going to increase, and they know it. And that's the only logical explanation. The premise that we suddenly care about low-income Canadians and this is for them is ridiculous, because it's been insane that this hasn't been rolled out for years at this point, well beyond the curve of a lot of other modernized countries, other than the ones who are beholden to the lobby groups who have tried to resist it. That's the only way. So they know that they can't keep up with the scale of benefits now, people on social programs. There's no way they're going to be able to keep up with the benefits, the calls and the processing in the future. Okay. Like, this is coming, people. Like, this is coming. The scale of those disbursements is going to increase. And that is the reason why this is being rolled out. Right. And so, you have to think, it's like we pointed at this in the past. It's like we have these like large scale unfunded social safety nets. Okay, we have CPP, we have OAS. Okay, we don't have that money. Okay, if it was accounted for like a private pension, it's in the CPP notes. We've shown it to you before. It's like $1.3 trillion underfunded. They don't actually have the money. Okay. The OAS, it's just a tax, right? It's been propped up temporarily by new workers. But the destruction of that is going to happen because primarily we've imported largely unskilled workers to do low-level jobs, and we've also simultaneously, they're supposedly executing the work required to deliver the social safety net to people who have exited the workforce. A lot of them before they needed to, but they exited the workforce, and we've guaranteed them a social safety net too. But the problem is a lot of them have, we've guaranteed them a social safety net, so we've, basically it's another layer of the Ponzi, and a lot of the low-skilled workers that we've brought in, it's like the writing's on the wall. These things are getting automated, people. Like, these jobs are going to get automated, and so they've plugged the hole temporarily. As bad as it is right now, it's like they plugged the hole temporarily on that with people doing these low-level jobs and paying taxes. But what happens when 1 million people in Canada who either drive for Skip the Dishes or Uber, when you only need 100,000 of them? What do you think happens to the other 900,000 of them? It's like
they sit at home.
Automatic benefits, and their tax returns are automatically filed. Like, they can't process those calls. They know this is coming. Okay, and so they can't have mass chaos. So they know that these benefits are going to need to be processed. Okay, they know it's already at the breaking point at CRA trying to deal with it now, and they know there's no reprieve in sight. And the argument that they suddenly care about low-income Canadians, like, to me, it just doesn't hold any water, because we've seen the history of the lobby, like, being completely beholden to the lobby groups until now.
Yeah. So the writing is on the wall, basically. Things are getting worse progressively. They say that, we're going to make the best decisions for Canadians, and this is to help you, but they're never here to help you. So the other thing that triggers in my mind is, look at what's happening with gold, with Bitcoin, with stocks, the money supply. All these things are kind of, like canaries in the coal mine.
Gold's the canary.
Showing us
Gold
what's
is the
going on
canary.
here.
And I've been sounding the drum since 2022. When was the first time I started buying gold or Bitcoin? It's like guys, the numbers are cooked. Like the writing's on the wall. Like this thing is completely unsustainable. We're going to have massive inflation. It's the only way out with the government spending and the current debt load. Like it's just the only way out of this thing. And you can see gold going absolutely vertical. I'll pull up the chart that, I look at almost every morning. And 1971, this is the start of our basically our financial regime when Nixon takes the US dollar off the gold standard. And it's like, this is the 5,000 year asset that's supposed to store wealth, and it's gone vertical. Governments around the world know that, and this is what is causing this is central banks around the world who sell U.S. treasuries and buy gold. Like that is the big, money. It's not retail investors lined up at Costco. I know you think that's what's happening, but does that drive the price? It does marginally, okay? But the real money is central banks around the world selling their $38 trillion worth of U.S. bonds and buying gold. That's what's really moving the needle here, okay? And we're in these stages where the government is telling you what's going to come. They're telling you they're bringing in automatic filing. Now, if you're living in Never Land, I guess you can believe they suddenly care about low income Canadians. But if you're in the real world like me, it's like, and you think that they never cared about them up to this point, why in 2025? It's like because they can't keep up with the scope of benefits that they have right now, and they know it's going to increase exponentially.
They're going to keep printing the money. They have to in order to. So otherwise there'd be revolt and things are going to become more expensive. You think groceries are expensive now and fuel is expensive now. Just wait. It's going to get worse.
Mm-hmm. And there's another layer of this where people are going to get lost too. The other layer is they're going to think that just because it's filed, it's right. Okay. In simple circumstances, it's right. But so there's going to be other people who out there in more complex circumstances who are just going to say, well, there's nothing I can do. The government files it for you anyways. It's like, there's actually a lot you can do. Okay. And so we've never built our business on filing returns. Like the filing of the return is kind of ancillary to the work that we actually do for people. I tell people, it's like once you get to the end of the year, it's like the number kind of is the number. There's a few things that we can do, but most of the stuff we could have done was at the beginning of the year. It's the decisions you made leading up to there. Mm-hmm. So it's probably going to create an even bigger disconnect from people actually understanding how taxes work and actually, how you should earn income and how you should structure your assets and how, what you should buy and the debt you should take on and how that actually works in your overall tax plan, because people are going to become even more disconnected because it won't even be an event that they have to look at or pay someone for once a year. Mm-hmm. And so that's a problem, right? Because I would tell you that 99% of the people filing the taxes anyways have no idea how it really works. They just know what that report card says at the end, and they understand the one tax, which is the income tax, how that's calculated, but they really don't understand how to minimize that or the other forms of taxes you pay, especially the inflation tax, which is very real. Okay. So most people, they're going to become even more disconnected from the process to learn, right? And so the first part is that you need to arm yourself with how this thing actually works, because the complexity was not in the filing. The complexity is how you actually arrange your life to actually reduce that rate of taxation. That was the complexity. That's where the strategy came in. The filing was, kind of, silly, right? Perfunctory, right? And I remember it was either like last year or the year before, the auto-populate function from CRA stopped functioning. And and my team we had employees entering slips like old school, and they were complaining so much. And I was like, that's how I remember doing it when I was when I was your age. It's like we had to file that in, but it was a mini scale disaster because we didn't have that much time allocated to file that, because that's not our primary function here. We expected the computer program at CRA to work with our program, and the CRA program started breaking down, right? But So in some respects, the automatic filing is it's a good thing, okay, but I don't think it's being done for the good reasons.
No,
I don't think it's been done because they suddenly said we care about poor Canadians and we want to see these big companies making a bunch of money off of unnecessary stuff. I just think that they know that they've hit the breaking point and there's no way out at this point. And those benefits, i.e., fake money disbursements, are going to increase to a breakneck pace that will just completely break the system, and that's what's coming.
Yeah. Well, they're really, really efficient at dispersing money. Remember back in 2021, 2022, when they were dispersing benefits to people to stay home because they shut the country down.
Yeah.
And man, everybody got those checks like clockwork.
It was alarming how quickly they did it, right? But I mean, they also sent it to a whole bunch of people who didn't even live here, or so they gotta maybe tighten that up a bit, right? And this'll help them, help them do it somewhat, right? That people will have to get into that system before these benefits happen, right? And so it's a good thing for the lowest income people, because there really are people who they don't have the means and they don't have the sophistication, and a lot of them are getting taken advantage of to do something that they don't even need, right?
For sure. So it's going to help some people.
It's going to help some. And it's going to hurt some people because they're going to become disconnected from the process, and they should be connected with the process, right? But the filing of it was not the important part. It was how the taxation system actually works. Like, what are the layers of tax that you pay? Not just income tax, but what gets deducted off your check. What's the CPP? What's the EI? Okay, what is the property tax you pay? What is the inflation tax you pay? What is the GST and HST that you pay? What is the provincial sales tax you pay? And how do you actually arrange your life that becomes a lower number? Because once you understand that, now you can get off this train where, off this kind of treadmill that just goes faster and faster. And it's like, eventually you have to get the fake money off of the system and get it into real assets. And that really becomes the only way. And, the importance of that is just speeding up with the craziness, right? We're a few weeks away from the budget.
Oh man,
the budget, right?
It's coming out.
A few weeks away from that coming, right? And that's going to be, we're hearing 90 billion. I've heard people say 100 billion, right? Yeah. We were joking earlier that I think they're going to come in as like 99 billion, 990 million. See, we did it. We kept it under 100. We're fiscally responsible, right?
Either that, or we could have like what happened last time, and someone just rage quit before the budget's even tabled.
Yeah, someone just
introduced.
Drops it off like an illegitimate child at the fire department, right?
And we'll still have no budget.
Yeah,
no budget declared.
You never really know how that's going to happen, right? And so you need to read this. Like, this is why that automatic filing is. Don't let them. I wouldn't let people say that this is for the good of all. They did it for the goodness of their heart, because they've been ignoring this problem for over a decade at this point, right? And it's and the benefits that people are going to qualify for are not really actually real, because they don't have a surplus. Yeah, you have to balance a budget in order to give real benefits. If not, all you're doing is just kind of printing fake money and socializing those losses. And that actually increases the wealth of the people who own the assets, because where do those people take that money and buy it from? They buy it from the people who already own the assets, and all of that ends up going in the hands of the people who owned all the assets to begin with. It just moves the money from the people who do the work to the people who own the assets. The interim step of giving people fake printed paper. It sounds enticing. It really does. It really sounds enticing. I get it, but it's not actually a benefit. It's just it's a cash distribution, and the wealth ends up in the hands of the people who own the assets.
That's right, because people who get their tax returns, the people who buy the things, they buy the stuff that you hold. They need they have a bank account, they have a cell phone. They're buying their skip the dishes. They're going to the grocery store. They're doing all these things. They need fuel to stay warm. They need gas in their cars. all of these things.
Turn on their utilities.
That's
They're
right.
going to turn on their light bill. They're going to use their cell phone. They're going to use their bank account, right? Like, it's just like that wealth ends up in the hands of the people who actually own the assets. Full stop. And the disparity grows bigger.
Yeah.
Dispersing the free money, dispersing an unbalanced budget does not distribute the wealth, people. It actually concentrates the wealth at the top, right? And that's the part that the socialists don't understand, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some of them would understand. It's like I guess theoretically, if they balance the budget and distribute the wealth, that's a different thing. But if you're not balancing the budget and trying to distribute fake money, that's a totally different. And that's what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen. And they're telling you, they're foreshadowing this is coming. Gold is telling you that this is coming, right? Because this is not a uniquely Canadian problem either, right? And we're long past the point where you're voting your way out of it. That's like the most unpopular opinion that I have at this point. It's just like, people are like, well, I just see him on it. It's like, well, Pierre said this. It's like, Pierre doesn't tell you that if you elect me today, everything's going to get worse over the next 4 years and there's nothing I can do about it. Because that's the truth.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's the truth, right? There's no electable position out of this, right? We're not talking about real solutions to this problem about actually balancing a budget and eliminating those unfunded liabilities that aren't even on the books altogether. The unfunded CPP, the healthcare, the people who stop working in the system, right? The foreign low-skilled workers who are going to get put on some sort of assistance once the automation takes over a lot of those jobs. And some of them are ingenious and they'll figure out other things to do and they'll redeploy. But a lot of them, it's like, let's face it, it's like we didn't import a bunch of high-skilled doctors and engineers. We imported low-skilled workers to plug those jobs. And a lot of them won't figure out how to navigate to that. And we guarantee them a social safety net. And again, not a uniquely Canadian problem.
No, absolutely.
Because the gold market isn't going crazy because Canada messed this up. The gold market is going crazy because the entire Western world messed this up.
Yeah. And circling back to, voting your way out of this, we've had this discussion off camera, but talking about who really runs Canada. You think the person that you vote for actually runs things? It's not. It's the bankers.
Yeah.
The central banks and the big banks. They're the ones who are wagging the dog. That's who really runs things.
Yeah.
It's not your MP.
Yeah.
And what kind of quick words that Pierre Poilievre can come up with to slam Carney and the Liberals, that has nothing to do with it. It's not going to change things, folks.
Yeah.
And that's the sad reality. That's why I'm not voting. I'm part of the non-voting crowd.
It's
because there's no way out.
It's hard. It's hard, right?
Yeah.
It's a hard realization, right? And I mean, those people who've come to like all the boot camps know when I cornered basically locked a couple of federal conservative MPs in a room and we let them have it, right? Like we literally barricaded the doors. They weren't getting out of there without us. And they're broken. Like they're just broken. They did nothing, right? We told them, hey, you're going to lose the election. You're going to lose the election. And they sat there and argued with us and what did we get? We got another, that was 2021 when we did that, right?
Yeah.
And will they lose 2 elections since then?
Yep.
And we told them exactly like what you'd have to do. Like if this was a business, this is how you'd have to promote it in order to have any hope of winning. And they just didn't do it, right? Because you just look at how, how the Conservative Party of Canada promotes itself, the amount of content out there and the number of minds they're trying to change. It's just completely lazy. If this was a business, I'd be like, yeah, you're going bankrupt because you don't have enough content. You don't have enough ads. You don't have enough awareness that you're generating to generate enough sales, right? And so if you look at it from a business perspective, it's like, no, you're just waiting for one guy to say the right thing and some Apple quote or something. So they're lazy. Like they're lazy. Like the people who are attracted to government, I'm sorry, it's like most of them are lazy. Like because like when you mix them with business owners, it's like fire and water. And it's not like my party's better than this party. It's like you just there's a certain type of person who just gets up one day and says, I want to be in charge of everyone else.
Yeah.
As opposed to the entrepreneurs, I want to create this service and get people to agree to pay me all the time, right? Yeah, you're not voting your way out of it, people. It's like you have to strategize how to figure your way out, and learning how taxation actually works. Like that's like the first step, right? And my fear is like people will become disconnected from the process because there's some people who are just they're so poor, they have no income, they have no skills, whatever. It's file their taxes automatically, okay? But then there's other people, it's like they're in the middle, and they got to hope, and if they can figure out how to actually reduce their real rate of taxation, I don't just mean income tax, okay? If they actually figure that out, now they have a little bit of capital to buy the assets that are going to outpace their wages, and that's what it comes down to, right? And so that's what we're trying to teach with them, right? And that's what we do at the boot camp, and we know current boot camps all sold out. Yep. So I would encourage you to get on the wait list for the next boot camp, right? And we're gonna have some interesting episodes coming up here because we got the budget coming.
Man, the budget, the all powerful budget. They're gonna come out and tell us how poorly they did.
But it's gonna be so glossy, and they're gonna tell you how great it was. But we're gonna skip through the glossiness and go through the back of the numbers when it comes out, right?
And they're also gonna tell us, how much they didn't spend, but they invested. They're not going to spend anymore. They're going to invest.
Investing in assets that don't pay a yield, right?
Oh, yeah, sure. What a load of crap. So what do we got in the chat today?
We see Sean. Sean, we see in the comments there. We're looking forward to seeing you at the boot camp again there, Sean. So that's good. We got the adventures. I'm not sure what this guy's talking about here. Don't understand.
Talk about I love with himself. Keeps checking himself out instead. Okay, nice. Sean, can't wait for November 8th, especially when that November budget comes out. Oh, yeah. It's going to be just like a couple days right after that. So
I keep doing this. This is like keeping a problem where we have these like major political events or something that like 3 days before the boot camp. And, but we'll do our best. We usually try to break it down and be prepared for that day. But it's, man, I'd like a little bit of notice, but we don't get any. We can't plan about it. We don't know when the budget's coming. Yeah. March, April, November, whatever they choose, right? So that's we've broken all the norms here. So yeah, looking forward to it. So next week, Trevor, I'll be in the Manila office.
Okay.
We're gonna do this one remotely, and hit the like and subscribe button because we've got a lot of interesting content coming out, and we'll help you break down the budget. We'll skip past all the glossiness at the front and all the rhetoric and go straight to the schedules and the numbers at the end and how that really is going to affect you.
All right, that sounds good. Thanks. We'll see everybody on the next podcast. Thanks.